I now timbering like a ghost to me. If I'm part of your memory, my actuality. Lady Emperor, the Empress, where's no palace beyond this? Where we are, where we never wanna be, Oh, I never asked dinosaurs to fall to the angels of the highway, but I had a Tums bottle under my bed with about 6 balls in it. Okay. I cleaned all of them too. I cleaned 1 ball out one time. Gee, man. Whoever keep these things clean, man. But then again, I guess if people end up doing something every day, man. I only want to ask you one question. Okay. I gave you a book one time, and the last time I was in here, it was in your library. It's not there. Does Cindy have it? Which one? It's a book called The Origin of the Sexual Impulse by Colin. The second time I was in your recording space in downtown sharing, gave you if you don't, no, listen, no. No, what I'm trying to say is, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. Okay. I know everything there is to know about that book, and I don't care about the book. What I'm saying is to say, no, let me ask you this. 2 different things. Because I've had both of these things happen to me. Okay. I lived a couple places one time. You know what poltergeists are? I had poltergeists that make things like appear to and make things to disappear. Okay. I lived in a place one time where I had somebody. Do you know where Wilson Street on Sharon is? Steve Scott got me this apartment over there. Frank Sessions knew where I lived. He dropped me out there a couple of times. And when I lived there, Michael showed up. I do believe that young man, almost did. He showed up in your recording studio one time. Freaked Dan out and stuff like that. Had the wild hair and shit. I was living with that dude. I had a painting in my room. Michael actually came. I let him sleep in my room that night because it was just like I had nowhere to go. Okay. Woke up the next day and came back. Next day I left and I came back. He actually opened the window in my room, came in, put this painting on. That young man that works at the Phoenix tonight, I met his brother in Arizona. His brother gave me a ceramic egg that was painted like the clouds of the earth. Michael wrote that. I was with him, and you know where the Bill Henderson Library, the parking garage goes downstairs? He had this painting that Charles did. Michael, that was strange when he did that shit, man. Tony, my apartment one time where I lived, I had been living there for like 5 months. I left one day when I left. I've been living in this place. My landlord came into where I lived a couple times. We were like hanging out. And all of a sudden, like my landlord and his brothers are there. You know what I mean? They're like, yo, you want the rent? Yeah, will you give me the rent? You know, and it's like, you know, they're in my where I'm at. I mean, I got this bathtub with this record system in it and stuff like that. This guy walks in. I had all my books there. At that period of time in my life, 1981, I had, just through circumstances, Tony, I had the largest collection, okay, second edition Wilhelm Reich books, probably in America, in my apartment, okay. They were there one day. I left my kitchen table. I had an ounce of marijuana laying there, and I had $80 in American money laying on my kitchen table, okay? A couple apples, and a grapefruit. And I left. And I came back, and when I came back, nothing in my apartment was gone, but like all of a sudden I was there for a while, and I got this weird, spooky kind of feeling. You know what I mean? I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, man. I started looking around, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I says, I know for a fact, when I left here, like 10 hours ago, that I had something in this specific room where I live, which was like, I had 13 books of Wilhelm Reich, and they're gone. Nothing had been vandalized, nothing had been stolen, nothing had been touched. 13 books of mine in my library. I'm like, very odd. Very, very, very odd. One time in my life, I had the first time I bought a copy of the book of Wilhelm Reich. I had a book that I bought at the Hickory Armory at a book sale. Big thing. This thing's like about this big. It's called The Selected Writings of Wilhelm Reich. Okay, I got this thing. A friend of mine I know was like a hitchhiker. Okay. I was done reading. He asked me if I could read the book. Yeah, sure. He buried it out in the East. He took it and somewhere out in like Montana or something like that. Way out on the other side of whatever where the mountains are, okay? He found a cave and buried a copy. The life of me, why? I'm like, you know, you buried a copy, you know, I mean, I was got lent it to you, you know. I've lent you books that, I mean, Tony, I'll tell you, in the last, say, you know, when I first started hanging out with your band, you, Brian, Dennis Thomas, and probably about 15 other people I can think of in a strange kind of way that have hung out with me. I've like lent a lot of people. I mean, you've never been to where I live. You walked into my room right now, it's like too bizarre, man. You got no idea, man. I got all these. I've been thinking about getting rid of almost all this shit, man. I'm serious, man. Because the fact that I think I was reading that book the other day, and I got to one point in this book, and it's like all of a sudden I was put it in my book bag, and I went out for a walk, and I was walking around, you know, thinking like I'll walk around until I get tired, and I'll go to the Phoenix, okay? And I'm walking around. And I'm thinking like, you know, I looked in the book, and I got like 370 more pages. I said, by the time I get done with this book, I says, I haven't written anything at all. And like, since 1977, I just felt like I needed to write something. And now I'm like about 40 pages from the end of the book. Tony, I might have to actually figure out how to sing a song. I may not be able to ever do anything in my life but sing one song of my own. Not anybody else's song. But it's not murder and it's not rape. And it's not those words. And it's not this tape machine and this microphone. But it is all of this stuff. But it's not. I know. I got that book in my way. Did I ever tell you? No, Tony, you got no idea. Do you know what the Panic in the Studio is about with Pink Floyd? Do you know what a poltergeist is? I believe that there's a good possibility that when that band hung out with Sid Barrett, when they went into the recording studio one time, I genuinely believe that Sid got so far to being what he was doing with that whole thing, and that they were jamming with him, and that all of a sudden they didn't do anything and they couldn't do anything, okay? But Sid's actual poltergeist descended into the electronic studio. You know what I mean? 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 You know what I mean?